Go again. We're not that far down. We'll go a little bit further. Keep going. Righto. So we'll move up, everyone. We'll move up to number 11, the submission on the proposed rates cap model. Now, you've got a question, but we've got. I have to move it. Okay, because as we all know, this has been we've gone round and circles. It's been done to death, and we have had all sorts of advice on this. I think we've got to a good point, and Pauline's happy to second it. Is there any discussion, Pauline?
Thank you. Look, this is a really good submission, good clear submission. Look, New Zealanders work hard, so why can't the majority afford the cost of living, which includes the cost of contributing to a fantastic city that they live in? Because we have a low-wage economy compared to most OECD countries. Around a third of workers earn at or below the living wage. We here at City Council and all of us councillors are absolutely highly cognisant of the importance today, more than ever, of rates restraint. But we are, to an extent, caught between the proverbial rock and hard place. We must continue to deliver all the services that residents expect and to invest in our incredible city. But Council too is heavily impacted in the cost escalation cycle of increases in insurance, power, construction, the list goes on. All very large increases over the past 5 years or more. So yes, let's agree to a rates cap, but only if accompanied by an alternative revenue stream as recommended by every review into local government that has been commissioned by successive governments. It's time for the Crown rates holiday to end. Why is this even a thing? Development contributions too. And even a partial return on GST would make a very helpful contribution to maintaining our city and providing our services to the standards expected in this modern day. Standards that see the bar rising daily with government reforms demanding higher levels of compliance involving capital works and future operational costs. Chlorine in our water is just one example. So without additional and alternative funding to fill the gap created by rate capping, residents in Christchurch City will lose out. We'll see cuts to services and fees and charges increases, probably cuts to community grants as well to all our voluntary organisations. And so I think this is a really good submission that has encompassed all of these points and more. And it's emphasised the fact that the cost of running, maintaining, renewing and investing in a city and its people has faced massive increases and can no longer rely on rates income alone. So additional funding is what we need alongside a rates cap if we're going to have a rates cap. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, thank you. I'll support the submission. I do support the general principle of limiting rate increases because I think, you hear that feedback time and time again when you're out talking to people. They genuinely cannot afford it. But I also agree with Pauline in the sense that government do need to pay their fair share. It does not make sense that they do not pay rates on their buildings, and it does not make sense that in some cases they do not pay development contributions. So I think, so if you're looking holistically at it, we can go, yep, we can limit what we can do in terms of our increases. We can get government to contribute more in their space. But there's a lot more that can be done in terms of the regulatory side of how councils and government work together, where we create a lot of bureaucracy through often legislation that actually adds no value to the city. And you think about some of the reports that the teams have to write every year that we consider for a minute and a half, and you think, actually, is that really adding any productive value to the economy of New Zealand or the people of Christchurch? And it's not. So, I think the intent is good. The one thing that I think, look, I actually suspect both sides of Parliament will land on a rates cap. The balance will be, the range will be where it differs. Neither of them have wanted to fund councils except for rates caps and their direct contributions. So, maybe they can get some cross-party support on that, which would be quite helpful as well. Mm-hmm. But I think we just have to be cognizant of, people are under massive pressure, and how do we keep the city moving forward? And I think if the government could change one thing from this, if they do nothing else, I think it's to allow us to exclude growth from the rates increase. So we should not be penalised for the city growing, If we have, because, as we had the deputation from the CSO before, if people are wanting to move to Christchurch, invest money here, build here, then we should be rewarded for that. The city should not be penalised when, because we're getting more people building here, that somehow we need to limit that. So that should be the cream on the top. That's always how we've treated it as a city, and that shouldn't change. So if we could do that, I think that would, if they do one thing, that would be it. But, we do have other levers at our disposal, and I promised myself I wouldn't say enable today, so I won't say it. But there are things we can do that will continue to grow the city, and I'm sure we can.
Right, Kelly. Oh, sorry, Yanni. You look similar.
Thank you. I endorse the comments that have been made, except for the previous one. I promised myself I wouldn't say Scruttons Road, but I will. And in the submission, Kiwi Rail. I mean, the money we're spending on Kiwi Rail, and there's no better example than the 6.9 million that Kiwi Rail and government are forcing us to try and spend at Scruttons Road for a crossing which, just doesn't need that quantum of funding. And I note in our report we do make reference to what we're going to spend in 2026. We don't make reference to what we're going to spend in total over the several years. But I absolutely agree with the fact that we need to look at rates affordability, and we need to look at what government can do to actually reduce the burden and the bureaucracy of how we do things. And the best example that I can think of is the $300,000 for a business case for one set of traffic lights on Morehouse and Stewart Street that apparently is some sort of NZTA requirement. I cannot accept that it would take, $300,000, which you could work out to be 2 traffic engineers working full time for a year, to come up with a business case just to get approval to build a set of traffic lights. We need to keep going back to government and saying, if you want to reduce the impact of rates on people, then there are levers that you can pull, like the chlorination issue that we've been forced to spend extraordinary amounts of money on, like the Kiwi Rail issue, and like some of the NZTA bureaucracy. So I support the submission. I thank staff for the work that they've done on it. And I do think we need to be mindful of costs, but we also need to put pressure on government to reduce what we're being required to do.
Thank you, Brad. Aaron, please.
Yeah, actually, I agree with all the speakers, or points of what all the speakers have said this morning is absolutely correct. But the one bit I want to raise, because I have a lot of people in my ward looking forward to rates capping. They absolutely celebrate the concept because of the amount we put rates up. Councils have to get their spending under control. There's a bit of work needs to be done at this table. I remember when Andre Moore was first elected, and we went into the annual plan, and he was looking forward to what we were going to talk about, and kept raising it on the things that he was looking at, and then we decided as a group, no, that's too much for our levels of service, and it has to go to an LTP. Then at the LTP time, no, we won't do this now. We just don't look at it. We spend way too much money. It's eye-watering. It's not the what we're spending on; it's how we spend it. And the old, and I remember going to when Leanne was quite early on and as mayor, and we went to the opening of Fish and Game on Johns Road, and it's a really nice building, lots of stonework. It's got cedar shingles and stuff. It's similar to my house, and just down the road. But it looked fantastic, and so I went to the builder that was there, and there was one problem. There was a lip in the aluminium joinery I complained about because it wasn't wheelchair friendly, but beyond that, the rest was great. And I got the square meterage rate, and it was double what we were paying for similar buildings, community facilities and stuff. I took Leanne over, and she was like, no, it can't be double. There must be something else added on. And it was like, no, that is the number. That building company could come and build property for us at half the square meterage. We don't get value for money. Councils don't get value for money for people in this country. Governments are just as bad, all of them. The spending's terrible. There's so much of a money go round. That it has to be reined in because it's non-productive spend. Productive spend's fine, but non-productive spend with money go rounds is pointless, and Scruttons Road's a great example of that. And we've got the same problem over in Radcliffe Road. The kids have to walk on the side of the road because we're held up by Kiwi Rail. What an absolute nonsense. So the nonsense needs to be knocked on the head because people can't afford it.
Thank you. So we've got a mover and seconder, and a very good discussion. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you, that is carried. We're now up to number 12, the Canterbury Local Authorities Training.